Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Twinkle, Snow, Dream. This is part 7, which just so happens to be the first part of the epilogue. I know, it's like an epilogue to a side story which isn't canon. It's a lot of things. So basically where we left off in the last episode, Setsuna finally agreed to distancing herself a little bit from Haruki and Kazusa, but still being their friend. But she's finally given up on the trio, given up on breaking them up, given up, supposedly, on Haruki. So let's continue on with epilogue part 1. It's cold out here. Looks like it might start snowing again. Seriously, there's still snow in our yard from last weekend. As the classmates exited through the front door, they each looked up at the sky in turn, their gripes vented out with white breaths. Their number increased by 1, then 2, and finally more than 10, bringing the crowd in the street in front of the Ogiso house to an almost unmanageable level. None of you have forgotten anything? Alright, great. And thanks so much for today, really. And once the last person had stepped out, the day's leading actress looked out and thanked them all. February 14th. Setsuna's combination birthday party and graduation celebration party had gone off without a hitch. Man, don't you love reading that sentence? Unlike all of her other birthdays, she finally had a good birthday. See you, Setsuna. See you tomorrow. I don't want to go to school tomorrow. Well, you have to. Today's Thursday. I guess I could just skip it if I want to. It's not like anything's going to be happening in class. I'm definitely going. There's only so much time left to spend with Ogiso-chan, you know? You don't get to complain. You screwed around so much, you couldn't even get a recommendation. Well, anyway. She had called up her friends. Lots of them. Just like in middle school, she called out to every single one of her classmates. Just like in middle school, the Ogiso house was filled with people. It may have been the first time this year that Setsuna had sincerely, genuinely laughed. Oh, I'm so proud of her. Instead of trying to narrow yourself into one group because you're scared of showing your true self, just start revealing your true self and you will make true friends. Whew, it's finally over. I haven't eaten anything. We did it. Seriously, thank you, Io, Takeya-kun. And those who, in both a good sense and a bad sense, were in the center of the ring, combination promoters and assistants, exchanged some last words with Setsuna. I mean, it was basically like a graduation party, so we should be thankful to you for letting us use your place. No, you can have your graduation party with your own class. Why would you choose now to start hitting on all the girls from our class? Well, I finally just realized how many other high-level girls there are in Class A. They just don't get as much attention because of how incredible the number 1 is. Thank you. I mean it. Hey, you don't have to get that serious. We really just barged in and partied it up however we wanted. No, really. Thank you. You're welcome. With a smile that held greater sincerity than any bow of the head could have shown, Setsuna offered the two of them her boundless thanks. After all, the fact that today's party went so smoothly, indeed, the fact that today's party happened at all, was because of their encouragement. And this is her way of kind of moving on. This is her way of moving past things. She can learn to smile again because she didn't put all her eggs in one basket. Or all on one Haruki. The more pillars of life you have, the easier it is to get past traumas or bad things that happen. Instead of putting her whole life on Haruki, she has friends, she has people from... Well, she did have people from her part-time job. She has her family. So if one thing crumbles, she's not going to crumble too. Good night, you two. We'll see you next month for skiing, Setsuna-chan. Skiing? How about that? I'm trying snowboarding this season, so it'd be cool if we found a place where you could do either. Should we have a strategy meeting right now then? At some diner somewhere? Just with you? Is that a problem? Nah. Yeah, you know what? Let's go. Wow, who would have seen that coming? Don't be weird. You're the one who invited me. Aww. Takean, Io. I love those two. I hope they have a good chat. Even after the two of them disappeared around the corner, the sound of their chatter echoed through the neighborhood for a little while. And after their voices had vanished completely, Setsuna looked up at the sky, letting a white sigh out into the air. Today had truly been a blast. Supremely fulfilling. It brought back faint memories of the days in middle school when all of her classmates, boys and girls alike, called her Setsuna. Which just means that they were normal with her. They didn't treat her like an idol. That's really all she wanted. And so, starting tomorrow, congratulations on your acceptance, Kazusa. She swore that winter would shut away that final, major regret, and she would manage these next few days until graduation somehow. Because being the three of them was still painful. They were still in that most enjoyable and most painful time. But in the spring, in a new season on a new campus with new friends, surely, if she could be in a pair again, and the group of 5 coming up, and with even more people, all right, blowing a final white breath up toward the night sky. Setsuna, turning her thoughts to what a chore cleaning up that party was going to be, opened the front door. And that's beautiful for her. She's looking forward to meeting new people, being part of a new duo, a new group of friends. That is what life should be about. Especially moving on to university. You shouldn't move to university carrying all this baggage and all these regrets. Forward-facing tears, as we learned they are called. Which brings us to Twinkle Snow Dream, Chapter 8. This is the second epilogue. Setsuna. Huh? She had sworn she would manage somehow. Happy birthday. Haruki-kun. And yet, that final major regret. Her friend who was late to the party. Of the only people she hadn't been able to invite, had now shown his face. I guess I made it just in time. Why? She hadn't said anything about it. Not to Haruki, nor to her other best friend. She didn't invite Haruki or Kazusa. It's painful, but again, I think that's the right decision for her. Maybe people would disagree. Maybe people are thinking, oh, you're ditching your friends, you know. For her, and honestly for everybody else, I really think this is the most healthy thing she could be doing. Sorry I'm late. It took me a little while to pick this out. Haruki's hand held a large basket covered in wrapping paper. But I wound up going with what the shopkeeper recommended, so you can send any praise or complaints their way. Thank you. The basket was offered slowly to Setsuna and passed into both of her hands. Ba-thump. The moment she touched his hand, after all this time, Setsuna's heart gave such a jump that it was almost shameful. Oh no, she was just moving on. Get out of her life. Setsuna. Oh, right. Congratulations on Kazusa getting accepted. As she attempted to glaze over her shameful reaction, Setsuna's voice, which had jumped a good bit higher on its own, just added a whole new coat to the shame. Yeah, thanks. You should tell that to her, though. No, this is fine. I know that if I tell you, it'll get to Kazusa. Huh? You're on your way to her place right now, right? To celebrate her acceptance? Oh, well. Bye then. Thanks for the present. See you later. She's trying. She wanted him to vanish from this place as soon as possible. She wanted to escape from this place as quickly as possible. She knows this is what's best for her. Because even in this cold, she was burning up. Because there were limits to how shamefully suspicious she could act. And because it still hurt. Being with both of them, or just being with one of them. Knowing that the other two were spending time together without her. Wait, Setsuna. So why? Why, when he called out her name, did her feet find themselves rooted to the spot? Listen. I have to start cleaning up. We can talk tomorrow. It has to be now. Why? There are only 2 hours of your birthday left, but I want the three of us to celebrate it together. She'd had a feeling. She had a notion that Haruki might speak that taboo phrase. What are you talking about, Haruki-kun? She wants to get away. Just leave her alone. Just let her out. Take had tried. He was like, Haruki, you can tell that you're causing them pain. And yet he's still doing it. And this is such a greedy thing to do. But there was no guarantee that having predicted it would keep her from experiencing the shock when it actually happened. You're on your way to celebrate Kazusa's acceptance, right? You have to be together with Kazusa today. Yes, together. Well, then, why don't we go to Kazusa's place together right now? Kazusa's? The three of us can have a party in her basement studio. The moment Haruki brought up that place, that holy ground for the three of them, a scene from half a year ago revived itself vividly in Setsuna's mind. We can celebrate your birthday and Kazusa's acceptance. A vocalist, a keyboardist, and a guitarist. An incomplete band without even a drummer. A snap decision made with neither personnel, nor skill, nor time, the majority made up of easygoing optimists, relying completely on the genius of the minority. AKA only Kazusa. Practicing, rehearsing, eating, chatting, arguing, dozing off, waking up again, practicing, rehearsing. The three of them together, laughing, yelling at each other, rushing through with the peculiar high tension of the dawn after an all-nighter. All of it happened in that room. Those ecstatic days, those treasured memories. We can't do that. Why not? But Setsuna mobilized all of her powers of reason to cut off those memories. It'll hurt Kazusa. You see, she knows what's best. And she's also being really modest. She's not saying, it's painful for me. She is thinking of the other girl. It'll hurt Kazusa. God, Haruki, why don't you get it? Otherwise, all of her grief and tears from the past few days would have gone to waste. Kazusa always wants to be alone with you, Haruki-kun. Even more on an important day like this, right? It wouldn't be right for me to be there. Because she had already given up. It won't hurt Kazusa. I won't let her be hurt anymore. Because she had given up, nothing could sway her anymore. What does that mean? She would give her blessings to Kazusa and to Haruki and continue down her own path, her own new path. This is how it should have been. This is how it should be. Well, I mean, a road along which she might intersect with them a little, but wouldn't have any deep association with them. Yes, that was best. No more lingering regrets. I mean, there's nothing separating me and Kazusa anymore. Huh? Nothing? Nothing connecting Haruki and Setsuna, and nothing separating Haruki and Kazusa. You mean, the awkwardness in his attitude, more than his words, told her everything. Told her that Haruki and Kazusa were bound by an extremely powerful link, that they had become tied together. And as we know, that link is not that powerful. Just because you sleep with someone doesn't mean that you're linked. And God knows we know that's true in Haruki's case. But having it be quite a shock to Setsuna right now is unfortunate. Granted, it's her birthday. Yes, I do like Kazusa. But I want to be with you forever, too, Setsuna. I hate him so much. He's such an idiot. On her birthday. She knew. She already knew that Kazusa and Haruki were lovers in that sense. Maybe that's unfair or cruel, but you're a dear friend to me. Could it work? But when she heard it stated outright by Haruki himself, Kazusa might be moody and selfish and cagey and prickly, which makes it hard for her to get along with people, but all of the heat steadily left Setsuna's body. But she likes you, Setsuna, just like I do. Cold spread through her, eroding all the way into her heart. So I know it might be a little uncomfortable for a while, but can the three of us keep going like this? Like what? What he wants is impossible. What he wants is so greedy because he knows this is going to hurt Kazusa, and he knows it's hurting Setsuna. But this is what Haruki wants, so this is what Haruki is going to go for. He is such a greedy jerk. Spreading, trying frantically to freeze over whatever feeling, its color unknown, was threatening to burst out at any moment. Can you keep being Kazusa's best friend? But Setsuna herself could no longer tell whether she was exploding or perfectly calm. Maybe I've made the wrong call. Yes, you have. But can't we just try? If it fails, can't we keep trying over and over again? No, Haruki-kun, you've mistaken me. Setsuna knew. She knew that Haruki believed purely from the bottom of his heart in their friendship. There's nothing pure about this. There is absolutely nothing pure about this. Is it too much to ask? Yes, obviously. Oh my God. And Setsuna also knew that although Haruki seemed to understand, he really didn't know anything at all. How much Setsuna had cried, how much she had suffered, and how much she had resolved herself to cast away. He knew nothing of it. Setsuna, hey, Haruki-kun? Huh? Setsuna smiled sweetly and took one small step toward Haruki. Hold this. Okay. And she returned the potted plant she had just received to him. Hang on tight, okay? You can't let go of it. Setsuna, what exactly? Of course, as he had been instructed, Haruki received the potted plant from Setsuna and held it carefully in both hands, so as not to drop it. As a result, in that moment, both of Haruki's hands were occupied. So he couldn't stop Setsuna's hands, cupping his cheeks, Setsuna's body moving in close to him, or Setsuna's lips pressing against his own. I hate White Album 2. Why? Every time. Even though this is a side story, even though this was supposed to make it better, it doesn't make it better. Because Haruki doesn't know when to give up, and he pushes and pushes and pushes. And I'm not saying that the girls are saints, because neither of them are, clearly. But what do you want? You know, someone's in love with you, and you just keep going and keep going. Obviously, they're going to break. I hate this. It's her birthday. And it's Kazusa's day. She got accepted to music school. And you are wronging the both of them. I'm sorry, Haruki-kun. I'm a genuine liar, an awful, wicked girl, a traitor who doesn't know when to give up. Setsuna knew that this was a game with no chance of victory. I'm going to make this an honorable defeat. I'm going to throw away being friends, being the three of us, and let you reject me. I'm going to disappear from your lives. She knew that this would break the three of them. She knew that all of them would be hurt. She knew that, most likely, she would end up the most miserable of them all. But you know, if there's that millionth of a millionth chance, a possibility that's nearly zero, but not quite zero. And just the smallest bit, she hoped that Haruki would make the worst choice of all. The worst choice of all being, well, we know what she's hoping, which is awful. And it's awful to hope that, but it's really awful. She tried so hard to get away from them. She tried so hard to distance herself from both Haruki and Kazusa because she wanted to move on with her life. She wanted new friends. She wanted a new circle. She wanted a new love eventually. And Haruki's got to come back in, parading himself, and just, he knows how she feels. Very frustrating. So, we will stop there for now. There is one more part left, and then we have the analysis. So, thanks so much for being here with me on this episode of Twinkle, Snow, Dream, and I'll be back with the next part shortly. Until then, hope you take care. See you!